He walked into the store wearing an old jacket, a faded baseball cap, and the kind of look people barely notice. No one could have guessed that the quiet man wandering through the aisles was actually the company's CEO. And no one could have imagined that before the day ended, he would witness something so heartbreaking, yet so beautiful, that it would change the way he ran his entire business. It started with the sound of someone quietly crying near the checkout lanes. The CEO paused, hidden behind a display of discount cereal boxes. A young cashier, her hands trembling, wiped her eyes while trying to smile at the next customer. That moment, small and almost invisible to everyone else, held a truth he never expected. Before we jump into the full story, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment to support our channel, Kindness World. Your support helps us share more inspiring stories that remind us how powerful kindness can be. The CEO had no intention of testing anyone that day. He wasn't there to evaluate performance or to catch someone doing something wrong. He just wanted to see what the store felt like from the perspective of an ordinary customer. For months, he had been reading reports about low morale and high stress. Numbers told one story, but he wanted the truth, the real, human version behind the spreadsheets. The store looked normal enough from the outside. Families pushing carts, teenagers scanning shelves for snacks, older folks walking slowly with lists in hand. But the moment he stepped inside, he sensed something different in the air. It wasn't bad, just heavy, as if people were holding their breath, trying to push through the day. He walked the aisles slowly, noticing things most people ignored: the slightly tilted 50% off sign someone tried hard to straighten, the half-swept crumbs near the bakery, the way the workers avoided eye contact with each other unless they absolutely had to communicate. He could tell everyone was tired. And then he saw her, the young cashier who would end up teaching him more about kindness than any leadership book ever had. Her name tag said Emily. Her eyes were red, but she carried herself with gentle politeness, apologizing softly to customers even when she had done nothing wrong. She moved like someone who was trying not to break. When a mother with 2 crying toddlers came through the line, the CEO expected Emily to rush. Instead, she knelt down slightly, smiled at the children, and handed them each a small sticker from her pocket. They quieted instantly. The mother, exhausted and grateful, thanked her. "That's really kind of you," the CEO murmured as he stepped up with a bottle of water he didn't actually need. Emily smiled, though it was clear her heart wasn't fully in it. "Just trying to make their day a little easier," she said softly. "Everyone's dealing with something." The CEO nodded, thinking how rare it was for someone so young to speak with such compassion. But when she handed him his receipt, he noticed her hand shaking, just a small tremble, but enough to tell him something was deeply wrong. He stepped aside, pretending to look for something in his bag, but really watching her from a distance. A few customers later, the store manager walked over. The CEO could hear their conversation even though they tried to keep their voices low. "Emily, I know you requested today off," the manager whispered. "But we were short-staffed. I really appreciate you coming in." Emily nodded politely. "It's okay," she said. "I'll make it through." The manager sighed. "Are you sure you're all right?" Her smile faltered. "My mom, she's in the hospital. They're saying it's serious. I couldn't afford to lose a shift." The CEO felt something tighten in his chest. He watched as Emily blinked hard, forcing the tears back, and continued scanning groceries as if the world wasn't quietly collapsing around her. What struck him the most wasn't her sadness, it was her resilience, her willingness to show kindness even while she herself was hurting. He stepped aside again, this time pulling out his phone. He called the regional supervisor, then human resources, then the store's assistant manager. He didn't introduce himself as the CEO. He just said there was an urgent matter and that he needed them to meet him in the break room within 10 minutes. When they gathered, nervous, confused, and a little intimidated, he finally removed his cap and spoke in his real voice, the one they all recognized from company announcements. "I just witnessed something important," he said calmly. "And we need to talk about it." They listened as he explained what he had seen, how Emily had tried to hold herself together, how she showed kindness while receiving so little of it, and how she came to work even on the worst day of her life because she couldn't afford not to. He saw guilt wash over their faces, but he didn't blame them. "This isn't about pointing fingers," he said gently. "This is about understanding the human beings who make this place run." Then he asked for Emily to be brought in. When she entered, still wiping her face, she froze at the sight of the CEO. Sir, I'm sorry if I did anything wrong." "You did everything right," he said, his voice steady but warm. He told her he had seen how she treated customers, how she handled stress, how she showed compassion even while suffering silently. And then he told her something she didn't expect, that she would be given paid leave to take care of her mother, and that her job would be waiting for her no matter how long she needed. For the first time since he entered the store, Emily broke down, not out of fear, but relief. She covered her face, sobbing softly. The CEO placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You matter," he said. "Your life matters. And no one should have to choose between their job and their family." The room was silent. Even the managers, who had seen countless corporate meetings, felt something shift inside them. Over the next few weeks, the CEO implemented new policies: mental health support, more flexible schedules, emergency leave options, and a system where employees could quietly request help without fear of losing shifts. Word spread through the company, and morale began to improve, not because of stricter rules or higher pay alone, but because employees finally felt seen. And somewhere in all of that change was Emily, who returned to work weeks later with a calmer heart and a grateful smile. Her mother recovered slowly, and Emily often told people that the kindness she received helped her more than she could ever explain. The CEO, on the other hand, carried the memory of that day with him always. One quiet moment in an ordinary store had reminded him of a simple truth: that kindness isn't just something we give when it's easy. Sometimes it's what saves us when life feels impossible. And in the end, it wasn't business strategy or profit margins that transformed the company. It was kindness, pure, honest, everyday kindness.